Alaura, and today my mother and I were the only two people that weren't lawyers or associated with the Good Wives Network that were able to sit in on the Gypsy Rose Anderson versus Fancy Maselli case. There's a lot of misinformation that's being spread, and there's a lot of confusion just in general, which is completely understandable. This all just kind of sprung up out of nowhere. But I figured as one of the only unbiased sources that you're going to be able to get, I might as well tell you guys what I saw and how I perceived it. Take everything that I say obviously with a grain of salt. You don't know me from a random Joe Schmo on the street. Anything I say, you are fully free to believe or disbelieve, but I'm just going to tell you exactly how I saw it. I'd like for it to be thrown out there that I completely understand that there are a lot of people that have mixed feelings on Fancy, Sarah, and the Good Wives Network, and just really Gypsy Rose and anyone that's involved in that whole sphere. I'm not here to change your opinion on anybody. I'm not here to defend anyone or tell you that you should like somebody over the other, but what I will say is, regardless of how we feel about a person or how we feel they conduct themselves, it doesn't erase some of the truth that they have to say. And I just feel like as a whole, we should all just try and look at the things that people are saying versus the way that they're saying it. And I hate to say that, but man, oh man, is there some shit. I would absolutely love to delve into the details of this court case. I feel like there's something very important and serious that happened this morning that needs to just be addressed before anything else. I know a lot of people are in disbelief, and I completely understand, but as someone who witnessed the majority of the event and my mother saw all of it, it really was as crazy as they... This morning at about 8 a.m., my mother and Fancy were sitting downstairs in the hotel lobby having breakfast together. A few minutes after they had been sitting there, they saw a tall man walk in with some of his friends, and they looked over, and Fancy's like, oh my goodness, that is... I'm going to put picture here and name here because I forgot his name. Mike Stanfield. I want to say that's what it is. Anyway, so it was pointed out. My mom didn't really know who she was talking about at first, but then she's like, oh, Gypsy Rose's lawyer. So Fancy, I believe, took out her phone and took a picture, of him, you know, just for her own documentation. And I will say, I completely understand the idea of being a little frightened and confused when you see, you know, the lawyer that you're going up against in public, and you just want to have some kind of documentation just in case anything happens. So I get it. That being said, she called Sarah down and she told her to run downstairs as soon as she could because Mike was there, and she would be able to maybe use some of her media training to get the inside scoop and whatnot. So from what I understand, Sarah came downstairs and she had a small conversation with my mother and with Fancy. She got an interview segment from both of them, and then she decided to branch off, and then she went over to Mike. So she went over to him, introduced herself as a member from a media outlet, and asked if she could get some sort of a comment from him on what was going on. I tell you, he told her, no, I know who you are. You are not a member of the media. You are Sarah, and you are working with Fancy, and I don't want to talk to you. This is an inappropriate place, and it is inappropriate that you would even ask for a comment. Now, I will say, I understand that the way that things are said sometimes from a lot of people that are involved in this is not appropriate. But as someone who was there and got to spend a significant amount of time with Sarah, she is a more shy, more reserved, more sweet and timid person, at least in person, in real life. And yeah, she's not a threatening figure at all. And while I understand maybe not wanting to be bothered while you're having breakfast, being such a high-profile lawyer and going up against what you're going up against, and by the way, it was a frivolous lawsuit, I feel like you really need to prepare for this sort of thing. And I mean, they're dealing with TMZ all the time. There is absolutely no reason why they had to treat her with such disrespect. That being said, I think a few more things transpired. She kind of like, you know, reiterated, yes, I am part of a media team. And from what I understand, Mike's associate, I don't know if he was a employee of his or a friend of his, but he then stood up. He put his chest up against her, chest bumped her, and told her something along the lines of, I think you should stand back. It was incredibly threatening, incredibly inappropriate, and this lady is like my size. I mean, like, if a man came up to me like that, I would feel so intimidated, so uncomfortable. And she did. She was shaking and she was borderline crying for the rest of the morning. I mean, it was absolutely horrible, and I feel so bad that she had to go through that. I don't care who you are or what this entails. You should never try and intimidate somebody, especially intimidate a witness. That is, from what I understand, a crime in itself, aside from the fact that it was assault. Allegedly. A lot of people are asking, how do we know if this is legit if we don't have a video? From what I understand, I think that a couple pictures and maybe like a few seconds of video was taken of this. We did try to approach the hotel lobby or the hotel staff and ask them if we could have access to access to all of the files or all of the video recordings. That's what I meant to say. We asked the hotel staff if we could have access to the video recordings. Something I forgot to mention is I came down right as Mike's associate was standing up and yelling, "This is so unprofessional. Call the police. Call the police." Well, sir, in this particular instance, you were the only one that was acting unprofessional. That being said, the police did get called, and guess who scurried off before they got there? The police stayed there for maybe like 3 minutes. They didn't even get the footage, so I really don't even know what they were there for. I'm thinking maybe it's going to end up on TMZ or something, so if anyone sees that, like, tag me in the comments below because I'm genuinely curious. We were trying to figure it out, but I don't know. From what I understand, I do think somebody has a few seconds of video footage. It's not my mother's video footage and it's not mine, so I cannot speak as to whether or not it's going to be released. But again, just take what I say with a grain of salt, believe me or don't believe me. So I think I'm going to have to make a part 2 and talk about everything that really went down in the court case, but I really needed to talk about this because this man was so intimidating and so rude, and you could tell that he had absolutely done this before. I don't care who you are. I don't care what the person is saying or doing. That was completely and totally inappropriate. And I'm sorry, Gypsy's lawyer, Mike, you don't have a fucking backbone. And I can tell you damn straight he doesn't have a backbone from what he was doing in court and how crazy, unprofessional, and quite honestly goofy it was. But I will get all into that in the next part. But I just really want to say that if you see something, please say something, because this is not his first rodeo. And I know that Mike uses this man as a defense, as some kind of a scare tactic. And I don't think we should be allowing lawyers to do that, especially high profile lawyers. So I will let you know that a police report was filed. A police officer did watch whatever video they have, and he agreed with the things that happened and the things that were said. It is being taken care of in some form or fashion. I don't know what the law is going to do, but I will say it absolutely is documented and absolutely did happen. Again, believe me, don't believe me, whatever. I will be answering questions below, but whew, it was a lot. That was heavy. So remember to love each other. And let's not be little bitches. And don't trust anybody because, ooh, shit gets shady real quick. Quick little side note real quick. I just wanted to say that after spending a significant amount of time with both Fancy and Sarah today, I'd like to say that they are both strong, beautiful, lovely women. Everything that we talked about was really productive, and I feel like they had a lot of really good things to say. You know, again, sometimes things look different on the internet than they actually are, but I think they're both strong women, and the way that they handled things today was just, I don't think they could have done a better job with it. So again, I will get more into it in a part 2, but I just wanted to make sure that that was absolutely known on the first go around. So anyway, mwah.